Right, talk. We're talking. We're on the internet. Hello. Hang on a sec. Put that one over there, and then look and see if we are actually on the internet. Oh, look, we are. God, I've got such a cartoonish face and demeanour.
Everybody says that about you.
It's always held me back. Now, thank you for coming back. If you are back, is there anybody watching? 4 people are boring enough to watch us code transparency statements from. I wonder, maybe they're. Hang on, I'm going to copy the link, post it on the internet again, and then we can get on with our lives. This is must-see TV, kids. Live now. Right.
What have we done since we were here last?
Well, I'm very glad you asked me that question spontaneously, Sheila. So, yeah, we can fill you in on 2 people that we've coded. If you look in the links below, is there content in the links below? Have a look. Somebody tell me if there's content in the links below. I think you can actually talk, you can shout back at us in Google Hangouts or shout back at us on Twitter. Let me have a look in the link. Where is it? Is it there? Yes. So if you look down there, you've got a link to the paper that we're writing and the data sheet that we're populating. Sorry for just kicking you very hard on the leg. Now, if you go and look at the data sheet, I can see several of you in there. A world of thrills. So we've already previously coded Gates Foundation, UK MRC, and Wellcome Trust. You'll notice that NIHR are missing, naughty NIHR, because NIHR did not sign, Sheila, until August 2017. So we will audit them.
Not first.
On the 366th day after they signed.
They probably had to get that signed off by Congress or something. I'm sure they had their reasons. So
you mean NIHR?
NIHR. Yeah.
They something election something. Just another thing that was silly about that election. But it didn't affect MRC. There you go. Different organisations have different anxieties about different things. Anyway.
Good old MRC.
MRC and Wellcome. I think we've done since our last chat, actually. That was me and Nick, or it may actually, I think it was just me. Sorry, Nick, if that's completely incorrect. Now, I think it was both of us. Anyway, MRC and Wellcome, very good. MRC had actually been pretty solid for a while.
Yeah, they were.
But
the jam audit.
Wellcome's transparency policy was alarmingly poor for a rather long time, but is now actually really rather good. But important news, so Gates Foundation, when we were coding this live in the video, we went through and then somebody said, hey, what about this document, and posted a document that looked like it was a transparency policy that was quite sensible about things to do with registration in particular. So we coded them for that. Actually, we went back to that document and reviewed it in more detail, and we coded it generously in error, and we've gone back and taken away all of those points, as it were, and switched them back to no, because they said, they had all these things like, oh, you have to include the registration ID in your trial report, and you have to register in the following ways. But it turned out that was only for trial reports that were published in the Gates Foundation's own journal, which is a kind of rebadging of F1000 research for their corner. It wasn't a policy about all of their trials. So there you go, Gates Foundation still, very disappointingly, really very, very poor transparency policy. Very sad, given that it's gazillions of pounds, but also, you know, the sort of ethos of Gates is supposed to be about
setting up this open access journal. Makes you think.
Oh yeah, and ethics, integrity, transparency, all that stuff. So come on, Gates. Come on, Gates.
Come on.
It's a bit like public school, isn't it? Come on, Pollard. Anyway, come on, Gates.
I don't know.
Well, no, neither do I. I'm really distant dream and a source of profound personal shame. Next, so we've done INSERM and Research Council of Norway, both of which very, very poor. So if you go to the bottom cell, documents and links, you will find the links that we've used. So for INSERM, that was all we could find that mentioned WHO.
So they did mention WHO on their information page. They said we signed up and we will be helping researchers meet the commitments we made. But they don't say what those commitments are.
WHO joint statement says we will make a policy within 12 months of signing that commits us to the following, and they have not done that for anything.
They haven't made a policy.
So
this reminded us of something we came across in the company audit, where a lot of companies said we had signed up to the FPF Pharma principles and data sharing, and we had to make a decision about whether that meant we scored that policy on the face of their policy.
Yeah, so if you don't have a policy that says we will publish results within 12 months, but you say we endorse the FPF Pharma policy, and the FPF Pharma policy says we'll publish within 12 months, does that mean that you kind of borrow that in? What we actually did in the BMJ audit, which you can read if you Google BMJ Goldacre Lane pharmaceutical policies, you'll find it. And because it's researchers, you're actually allowed to read it in the BMJ, it'll be automatically open access. What we actually did was we checked, we went, well, does it make any difference if you give them extra points for that? And basically, I think it shifted 2 companies by 220 flickers of commitment, but didn't really make any big difference anyway. However, in this case,
committing to the WHO policy means you will write your own policy. That's what it says, writing and implementing the policy.
Yeah.
So
you can't really...
CERN didn't have one, so they didn't get any points.
You can't borrow in the commitments of that policy. Next is Research Council of Norway. Now, just rewind for a sec. How do we do these audits, as previously discussed, or if you've read them before? We're not doing questionnaires. We're not going to sponsors and going, what do you think your policy is? We're interested in what their public policy, their public-facing policy is, because we want to know what have they said in public that they can be held to. It's a firm commitment. Now, the way that we always do it is we look for their policies, and then we grade their policies against basic concrete criteria. The thing that's actually really difficult about that is not so much coding what they've written in their policies, although that is sometimes infuriating if it's opaque and sort of soft language. The really hard thing is just finding their policies in the first place. Now, we always do a belt and braces check at the end where we send people an email, super politely, saying, we've looked through your policy, we found these documents, we've extracted this data, we think this is what you commit to, please let us know if we're wrong. And actually people engage. Well, actually, that's another interesting difference between pharma, I would say, and non-industry spot the funders. Pharma, when we did that, and we didn't put enough of this stuff in the paper because it was already long. Pharma, when we did that, sent us back
hundreds of
pages
hundreds
of guff. I mean, we produced a two-way table of everything that they said that they thought we'd got wrong and whether they were right or wrong about us getting it wrong. And there were like 2 out of 4,000 data points changed as a result of what they said.
Less than 1 percentage point.
It was 0.07.
Could be.
Anyway, it was 2 out of 2,500.
And it took us hours, days, in fact, to read
days and days.
those.
Yeah, and I also almost feel bad disclosing that because, well, so on the one hand, I strongly suspect when organisations do that, it's partly can we slow you down, I think. Maybe that's unkind, I don't know, but I think there is an element of that. You know, Martin, can you send some kind of response to these people and make it long? But it doesn't work because we just, you know, we keep on trucking no matter what. So we trudged through it all, and it was a trudge.
That was a trudge. And
it was all guff. Now, by contrast, with only one exception, and I'm not inclined to name names or be unkind about individuals, but with only one exception, when we sent non-industry funders, so government funders, our coding for the JAMA paper that we published on non-industry funders policies, they basically all wrote back and went, yeah, you're right, yeah, we agree. And a couple of them wrote back and said, yeah, you're right, we agree, and yeah, that's not great, is it? Which was really good, really interesting, and also just, again, for kind of background, you know, my whole preoccupation with all of this work around the trials trackers, fedar.trialstracker.net, well, the EU one isn't out, but it will be very, very, very soon. Other ones, and also all of our work with openprescribing.net. I'm a big believer in open public audit as a quality improvement tool, and it's not naming and shaming, it's just, you know, I'm a doctor. When you're a junior doctor, you have to do an audit every couple of years as part of your training. You see these full of them. I've done audits of infection rates in, I think I've done infection rates in Wickham General Hospital when I was a surgical house officer, or or maybe the number of discharge summaries done within a week. I've done waiting times for outpatient psychotherapy at the wards. You know, you're always doing audits. It's just bread and butter of medicine. Standard quality improvement tool. That's what we do for trials transparency, and that's what we do for prescribing with open prescribing. And if the customer for the audit data is everyone, then it needs to be open and publicly accessible, and that's the way it should be. Why is that relevant? Can't remember. Should we crack on?
We couldn't find a policy for the Research Council of Norway. True,
and that's really annoying. And I don't think it's a foreign language thing because it comes up all the time. And I just wonder, I wonder if we should sort of begin this process by getting in touch with them all and saying, hey, you signed up for WHO, could you send us what you think your current policy is? And they would probably send it to us. But in my experience, when you do that, what you also get is people sending you really long corporate communications emails telling you about how committed organisation X is to transparency and all the great stuff they're doing, and a real dog and bone.
I think the model we developed last time is the right one, of us as interested members of the public going to look.
We look. If we can't find
the organisation's policy, if we can't find it, then it's not findable, because we really look.
Should we time box the looking? Because it's very annoying.
Time box the looking.
Time box, a time box as in, is that not a phrase in popular parlance? Is that just in ebmdatalab.net? All right, well, we tend to, you know, you kind of go, all right, just have a go. If you can do it in 15 minutes, do it. If you can't, you can't.
Okay.
So let's say 15 minutes of searching for a public trials transparency policy. But anyway, yeah, we'll time box in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
anyway,
fine. And then at the end, when we write to all of them, we can...
We'll say we spent 15 minutes, this is what we found, we didn't find anything. Now,
prove to us that we were wrong if we were wrong. If you have one, send it to us, but also show us that it was
but here's another thing: 16 viewers. We've dropped a viewer. This is such boring content. This is our life. This is not prime time. This is just how it all works behind the scenes. Oh wait, sorry. Nick's in our team Slack channel. Nick, are you watching? Nick? Anyway, he's going to start with Institute Pasteur while we do Norway.
19.
Wait a minute, Nick, are you coding or searching for Institute Pasteur? All right, Nick, are you searching? Search. Maybe I can't screen share our Slack channel. That would be the end of everyone's career. So let me tell you what we did with the Research Council of Norway. Searching, putting documents, and we can code. What a hero. Nick, you're welcome to join us in the video in the Hangouts if you want. Do you want me to send you the link? So I'm just gonna, Nick, if you want live link.
Institute Pasteur, maintenant.
Well, je agree, but first, Research Council of Norway. So basically, we couldn't find anything, could we? We looked, nothing there. And the only interesting thing about the nothing, I think, is to say, they've got quite a long and laborious open access policy. Really interesting, as we've sort of covered in passing in previous work, but it's just really interesting how open access, I think because it's got a kind of commercial structure behind it, and therefore an administrative structure and an advocacy structure, open access has kind of penetrated organizations, and they're all proud to tell you about their open access policy. And actually, me and Nick found when we were talking to sponsors and going, what's your policy on making sure that you report the results of all trials, which is what really matters, people would very proudly tell you, oh, we've got a fantastic policy on open access. We make sure we pay for it. And you kind of go, well, that's just things that people do elect to publish. Are they free to access, or do you have to pay $28 to get them? That's not the same as making all trials published. People would look at you blankly and you'd have to explain it about 5 times, and then they'd finally understand why it wasn't enough. But anyway, so they've got an open access policy, and they've got a policy on sharing data. But again, sharing data, great, fabulous, exciting future, although very expensive, very difficult to do and maintain information governance properly. But also, what's the point of sharing data on a subset of trials if you're not sharing the basic summary results of all trials? And also, sharing data is so expensive and requires sandboxes and IG and committees and protocols if you're not going to get people cherry picking and leaking. When summary data is what everybody wants, just, give me the, how well does this drug work? And if we can't crack that, what are the chances of us cracking comprehensive data sharing? Anyway, Research Council of Norway, nothing. Now, let's do Institute Pasteur. So Nick, I think, has posted into there. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open that in this window over here, and then we can share window. And as long as I close all of the embarrassing personal things in this bit of Chrome, I think I can safely share without disclosing terrible things about I don't know what. Wait. Oh no. All right, pasteur.fr. Okay. Must see TV as Ben attempts to work out how to share his screen. I want to share an application window. I want to share that application window. And there we go. Can you see that? Is that an exciting moment in your life? Wait, if I just reshape that a bit, I can make it so that it's slightly more sensible with the aspect ratio of the YouTube thingle. How's that? That must be a bit more visible, yeah? Oh, and shout back to us on Twitter so that we know that we're not just barking into this. That must be a bit more visible, yeah? Oh, hello. Oh, so that's Nick back to us from the internet. We know that Nick's my research assistant. He's fabulous. We did the jam it together. Nick, did I make it clear when I sent you that link that this is the live broadcast? Okay. It's just everyone can see your mum's kitchen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I think Google Hangouts will flick the screen that people can see according to who's shouting the loudest. So there we go. All right. The Ethics Charter of the Institute Pasteur, September 2012. So if this is all we were able to find, Nick, we can be pretty confident that they've not changed since WHO. Is that right?
Yeah, at least on the English-facing website, this is all I was able to find in the policy sense. There might be some stuff in French that we wouldn't be able to find, but
okay.
Anything else?
Now, Institut Pasteur are not one of the biggest research funders by total volume of research funding, so they were not covered in our JAMA paper, which looked at the people who, the government funders that spend the most in billions every year.
But they just missed, Ben. They were next. If we would have done 11, or whatever, then I'm forgetting how many off the top of my head, but they were literally the next in line.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, great. I've completely forgotten that from that spreadsheet. Okay, well, in that case, good.
They are behind the times. When I wrote to them earlier, they wrote back to me to say they would publish their policy by the end of May. So they've missed that deadline that they already set themselves.
Oh, so you wrote to them and said we're going to publish?
Yeah, we did remember.
If you...
Only like 3 replied, but Pasteur was one of them.
Do you want to ping them an email now and say, hi, it's June? I mean, say it in your nice, friendly voice or something. But yeah, let's see if they think they've published anything. I can't see the discussion channel that was up on the side of this window before, by the way, Nick. Well, anyway. All right, let's have a look. Anything on registration? Researching human subjects is where it's likely. Oh, clinical trials. Okay, 1 page. I'm not feeling good about that. Anything else? Let's have a page 11. There might be something. All right, so page 6, the Ethics Charter of l'Institut Pasteur. The Institut Pasteur aims to fight disease, notably infectious genetics. Do you remember when we would read the kind of personally celebratory corporate spiel of these documents? And we would always imagine there was some kind of library music playing in the background. The Institut Pasteur aims to fight disease, and notably infectious genetic and immune diseases. Right, regarding vaccine trials. Okay, so they're basically telling us that they do some trials and that trials are great. From a regulatory, the trial must match a precise framework at the national... Okay. Oh, they're telling us that social and cultural specificities are important. Wow, this feels like continental philosophy. Partnerships and financing tools must facilitate access to treatments and tests in the developing world. Great. It feels like people have really got the hang of a bunch of other ethical issues, but not actually reporting the results of your actual trial.
No,
well,
this is
that's
not,
that.
This is not transparency, is it?
Nothing there. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick search for the phrase regis. Nothing.
No.
Okay. What else?
Report or publish.
Report. No. Report.
No.
Results.
Okay. Here.
Reminds personnel of their duty to return information. Okay, that's just some kind of.
This is again about other parts of the world, I think, isn't it?
Oh, it's page 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's international.
Same.
Yeah. Results. Encourages. Oh wow! As the Institute Pasteur also encourages members of personnel to publish their results, it does not wish to delay the publication of articles. Right.
This is in a section on intellectual property.
Encourages. I mean,
it's the duty of sign on. Here we go.
It's the duty of scientists to communicate the results in a format that is intelligible by the grade. Okay, so they're telling you that you should do a little bit of public engagement. This is it's just really fascinating to have so much.
This is quite interesting just for other reasons. They're asking their personnel to make sure they're clear and honest, I think, when they're talking to the media.
Oh yeah, well they
must not create false hope or unnecessarily discourage sick people. Nice.
Well, these are preoccupations of Sense About Science and me. All right, here we go though. Personnel are reminded authorship of papers must be apportioned with respect to the equitable contribution of each. Oh, great. Wow, I mean, being preoccupied with internal politics among academics. God, authorship squabbles on papers. The fights are so vicious because the spoils are so slim. And the accepted rules of professional ethics, I've never had fights like that, by the way, but God, you watch them and they're nasty. Results must first be accepted for a publication in a peer-reviewed journal before being diffused to the greater public. Oh, wow. Okay, all right. Anything else? No.
Yeah, I added one more link.
Sorry, one more what?
Nick?
One more link.
Oh, right. Okay, great. Something animals. I just don't think there's anything in that at all. Sheila, do you want to have a look offline on yours? I mean, it's always good for us, I think, if we can, to actually read through the document. So here we are back on the coding frame, everyone. We've still got 18 viewers. It's criminal. I cannot believe that you don't all have better things to do. Although I note literally everybody is discussing it on Twitter. Send me a tweet and tell me that you're actually paying attention. Go on. What was I going to do? Oh, you've got another link, Nick. Oh, there's a second one, our engagements. All right.
Yeah, so that has the link to that file we just reviewed on it, but it also has below that talking about how they share results in accordance with some big, I believe it's a WHO or UN agreement, but not the UN Nationals Global Compact says, in line with its culture of responsibility and transparency, the Institut Pasteur will publish the results of its initiatives to ensure practical application of the 10 Global Compact principles.
And what are they?
I think you can click and find out.
Okay, sorry. Here we are, the 10 principles. It's a bit Monty Python. We have 5 principles. Okay, yeah, this is all lovely, but there's nothing there about reporting your results. Yeah. It's all like forced labor and useful reminders that our preoccupations are not the only important things in the world, but nonetheless, there's no evidence-based medicine if you're not publishing your results. Now, so communication on progress, but that's on the United Nations Global Compact. Greenhouse gas emissions, a dedicated area for their neighbours. Oh, wow, in case they have a really noisy party. And the ethics charter. There's nothing else here, is there, Nick?
Not that I can tell. They have their general research website, but I could not find any links to anything that looked like policy there.
Let me see, methodology of clinical trials and practical implementation. Oh, that's a course that they run. Okay, fine. Nice enough, just out of snoopiness. I'll look at their program. Good grief, it's all in French. It's like they won the war. Sorry, I just like to manifest a crazy UKIP member in my brain every now and then. No research in clinical trials, permanent research line, blah, 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 blah. Nope. The only other thing I was thinking about, an interesting sort of slightly oblique search strategy, everyone, is to do a search on Google for like in URL :pasteur.fr and then a link to the WHO document. Do you know what I mean? Google. So as in, you can use this operator in a search, and then can anybody remember the link to the WHO document? Have we got it open anywhere? Hang on. WHO joint statement. Here we go. It's that, isn't it? Oh wait, that's a different window. Yeah. So this is it. See if there's a page that's got that link on it with pasteur.fr and the thing.
Nothing found.
And just to check that that actually works, who had something that linked to
Insert.
that? Insert. So in URL, insert, and that, will that actually work? If it doesn't, then I will feel sad. No, it does not work. Balls! Inserm's website does have Inserm in it, doesn't it? Yeah.
So Ben, the way you do it, the way I know how to do it is if you're in Chrome, if you type a website name in the URL box and then type something next to it, it'll automatically do Google.
Oh, that's true, isn't it now? Yeah, okay, cool. So inserm.fr. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't seem to be doing that. I know what you mean. It does often do that, but it's not doing it. No. I think that might only be for for sites that have some kind of search API weirdness in them, because it works for YouTube and stuff like that, doesn't it? Oh God, is anybody on the internet watching this incredibly boring broadcast who knows how to do this and is inclined to check? No. Tell you what, Nick, can you make a note that we should just try that as a search strategy, and we should try and remember how to do it? In fact, do you want to have a hunt for that?
Oh,
one?
it's site. You do site : the URL and then your search terms.
Site : the URL. Oh, the URL of the outgoing link that you're interested in?
So like site : inserm.fr/en or whatever it is, and then space, and then whatever your search term is.
Yeah, no, but I think in URL : is a sort of a subset of that, and I think maybe Insert didn't actually do it. Maybe this is not the correct test. Can you remember? Can you check on your machine quickly whether that Insert page really did link to that actual document? Because maybe it didn't. Maybe it linked to some other random bit of the WHO's transparency documents, or linked to the PDF or something. Yeah. Okay, well, this irritation is an interesting / not very interesting window into thing. Oh wow, that's a hideous illustration of how leaky it is to broadcast to your screen. Look at that. Evernote is telling me about notes in my Evernote folder that are relevant to that search.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Internet.
Inserm links to here.
Oh, it does. Okay, so that strategy just simply didn't work. All right. Anyway, Institute Pasteur. Let's code them up. Code them up rawhide. So here we go. Institute Pasteur in our JAMA audit. No. Any mention by the funder of a change in policy following WHO statement?
Not that we can see.
No. Policy on registration? No. It's no to all of this. No. And then these things. So in the WHO thing, you had to say that you would give people who do trials enough money to make sure they report their trial. I mean, it's a tiny fraction of the total cost of running a trial, and good Lord, what an extraordinary world it is when you have to do that. But to assess that, I think we'd need to assess it absolutely belt and braces. We'd have to check the kind of guidance for applicants and that sort of thing. Actually, I think for organisations that don't show any signs of having a transparency policy, I'm not hugely inclined to spend a lot of valuable life minutes checking those documents, but we can talk about doing those in bulk later. And then the same for two really important rows. We said, mention applicants' previous track record of published results is considered when assessing new grant applications. So that's really important because, you know, academics will do absolutely anything they can to get money out of funders. When funders crack the whip, academics jump. And so if you say to people, when you apply for new money, we're going to check that you've reported your previous trials, that's the sort of thing that really changes. And
make decisions based on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull that into part of the...
Anyway, to assess that, we have to look at that thing as well. Nothing about monitoring compliance, and not even a vague, asinine statement about IPD sharing being wonderful and important. Institut Pasteur, you are naughty. So far, out of the 6 that we've coded, only Welcome and MRC have actually got policies that are anything like what you signed up to when you signed up to WHO. I think that's
interesting.
God, yeah, I mean, as always, you know.
Disappointing, isn't it?
Well, it's that thing of interesting and miserable.
Disappointing. I wonder why. We know when we ask them.
I think sometimes organisations just think that it's their job to say things rather than do things, and they think of this sort of thing as being sort of ethos rather than concrete.
That's why it's important people like us and the 40 people watching.
Make it concrete.
Make it concrete. Ask them. You said you're going to do this. Why haven't you? It's important to us. It's important to your researchers.
I have to say, I'm very disappointed by this. We spent a lot of time.
Next one.
Making that WHO thing, and they've all signed it and done nothing.
Well, don't get too down because things might get slightly better as we move along. As a spoiler alert.
All right. Well, Nick, I feel, God, it's like you're curating an emotional journey for us, all the way from America. Okay. Has anybody said anything on Twitter? No. Right. So what are we doing next? Path.
What is path?
Path.
Path?
Don't you know about Path? They're driving transformative innovation to save lives. Yeah, Path. They're like a global health funder.
They're a collaboration, aren't they, for 2 different groups?
Yeah, I can't remember who. Some companies, some charities, that sort of thing. Is that right?
Particularly interested in Ebola.
Oh, well, don't mention Ebola. Yes, that will be out shortly. All right, so path. Shall I share my screen? And then people can see what we're seeing. And on a mo. I want to share an application window, and I want it to be that one. Bonk. Yeah, okay, so here we go. Path's principles relating to responsible conduct. Path established policies for responsible conduct in governance, work-proof environment, research collaboration, financial stewardship, intellectual property, and confidential information. Good grief, there's a long list of things they do well. Governance, workforce, and ethical conduct of research. This will be us. Hang on. Big. Oh my God, so much corporate speak. All right, you've got an ethics committee, that's good. You need local ethics review. Great, let's have as many ethics committees as possible without actually dealing with the salient issue of reporting. So, Oh, right. Providing accurate and timely information about our work is... we encourage staff to share project results. Encourage. That's the second time we've had this word encourage. I mean, what was the point of doing a trial in the first place if all you're going to do is encourage people to share the results? Okay, so Nick, I don't feel like that was the emotional bump I was waiting for.
Not that one, but it gets better from here on out.
All right, hang on a sec. Wait, there's another path page.
It's short.
Code of ethics,
Yeah.
policies and practices, proper stewardship, policies and practices.
I've read through it. So the policy to make policies available.
Oh, I'm really glad about the policy availability policy. And they've got some kind of mechanism where if you don't like their policy availability policy, you can review their complaints policy and apply that to their policy availability policy. Right. Oh, look, and there's a president and CEO's letter to staff because it's really important to give things a human face. Dear colleagues, we've got policies. Develop a cohesive set of policies and resources to better support. Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. Oh wow, Steve Davis. I wonder if that is Steve Davis, the snooker player and prog rock fan.
I'm sure it is.
Did you know Steve Davis, famous snooker player from the 80s, is a massive prog rock head, a fan of Gone, the Pothead Pixie prog rock, like loony magic mushroom band, and does a radio show, I think on like Resonance FM,
Resonance,
hipster, like,
Resonance,
you know, avant-garde radio show with, I think with, what's his name, Cavus, the new singer who's in Gone, where they play far out psychedelic rock.
Good for him.
Each other. Yeah.
More depth.
This is the value add. This is the value add of doing this, our live stream.
Right, okay, so there's nothing in path, and apologies for being distractible. It's just my dysfunctional personality. So next, when I'm going to pull this over. SEPI.
Mixed up as a little hint.
Nick's little note says, brackets, great stuff here. Oh wait, hang on, we've got a code path. So, in our general audit, no. They basically get no for everything like their neighbor. So I can safely, I think, copy over. Can somebody else copy over the links that we assessed into the cells at the bottom? Can you do that, Nick?
I'll, at the end, I'll just, because I'm still looking for other orgs, so I will just move all these links that we left later and back them all up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so SEPI, why don't we share screen again, and then you can see what we're looking at rather than me picking my nose.
An 11-page clinical trials policy document.
Oh, well, that's always a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that would always make us sad with the industry one was when people had a policy that was spread over 5 different things. Do you remember having like 5 different documents from different years?
Yeah.
Mutually inconsistent.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I felt a bit funny whenever I think about that miserable project.
I'm getting PTSD right now.
Thanks for coming back, though, for a second round.
Hey, pleasure.
So, clinical trials. Clinical trials constitute an essential step in translating biomedical advances into healthcare improvements. I feel like as well as giving people boilerplate transparency policies, we should have given them boilerplate corporate guff to go at the beginning of them. Just because, you know, the amount of redundant time. Anyway. You've got to have a sponsor for a trial. Yep. A sponsor, has to have a system and SOPs and all that. Good. ICH GCP, the biggest mixed bag in research history, ICH GCP. And it is a big bag. Reports requires awardees to share a synopsis of clinical trial results as close to real time as possible. Hooray! and within 12 months of not just end of study, but to show that they're paying attention, last subject, last visit. Gold standard definition of trial end.
And?
Oh, actually, no, it would have been better if it was LSLV for primary outcomes. That would have, they'd have got extra platinum.
They wouldn't have gotten extra points for that. They've got all the
and no later than 6 months after LSLV for pediatric studies. Interesting. Echoes of European discussions there. CEPI has committed to implement the requirements as set in the May 17th joint statement public. Yes! In addition, CEPI funded trials must share the notes from DSMB meeting. Oh, that's interesting. Or, in the event of a public health emergency, CEPI expects that... Oh, we'll share it with CEPI and WHO. Okay, I was hoping for a second there. They were going to allude to the WHO joint position statement on rapid sharing of data and results in public health emergencies, which said that the normal timetable of sharing within 12 months should be expedited, or for the Irish, expedited. Well, that's bloody great.
That's good.
Did you see the registration stuff too? I missed whether you caught that or not.
No. I'm drinking it in the order they serve it up. Overall guidance for clinical trials funding by CEPI. Objective is to support shouldn't interfere with standard of care. That is actually rather good. See my and John Mendel's paper on trials with dodgy comparators. Protocols. You've got to do a protocol. Do they say they've got to be shared? Those protocols have outcomes that can lead to health benefits.
Okay, so section 4 then is what we want. Requirements for clinical trial setup, conduct, and reporting.
Okay, I'm too excited. I'm drinking it in. Ethical review. The clinical trial results must meet the standards regardless. Yeah, I see it's GCP. Wow, well, carried out in accordance with, do you remember this discussion last time? Carried out in accordance with Declaration of Helsinki means, Declaration of Helsinki says share the results of all clinical trials, but there were companies that said we obey the Declaration of Helsinki, but we don't share the results of phase 4 trials, that kind of thing. And you go, well, then you don't, in that case, do what Declaration of Helsinki requires. Anyway, oh, wow, monitoring, data management, and SAPs in place prior to study initiation. Nothing here about making that public yet, though. Is there, Nick?
No, not sure. Haven't looked super closely.
Lots of good protocol chat, but not. Anyway, okay, good. You've got to register your trial. I don't think it explicitly says. Oh, yes. Second requires that clinical trial websites are regularly updated and results are posted as per requirement. Nick, do you want to explain why that matters?
Yeah, so you were just saying they don't share protocols publicly, but basically by registering your trial, you're in effect...
Yeah,
you're in effect putting a protocol online where the ICTRP platform, it being a recognized registry, is really important because there's a standard data set any registry that sort of has that stamp of approval on it must have, and it has things like making you pre-specify your outcomes.
Oh yeah, but the nerd rant I was hoping to trigger from you is why does it matter that the data on trial registries is updated regularly as and when they change?
Oh yeah, because on places like clinicaltrials.gov and EUCTR, you're required to report your results within a certain time frame. So if your data is not kept up to date, you're not able to comply with that, or rather, compliance with that can't sort of be assessed in a timely manner. Yeah.
So what we found, if you look at some of our previous, unreported trial of the week posts. For the BMJ, you'll see there are some cases. There was one where we really went large on it, where trial registry entries had basically been abandoned. So they'd sort of said, oh, the trial finished a year ago, but nobody had updated the data on the register for 3.5 years. And the WHO thing was really clear about people not doing that. Hey, look, I feel like my sense that I need to maintain a sort of patter of chat is impeding my ability to think.
That's
Should
a
we?
score.
Yeah. So shall we carry on talking? Well, should we leave the video thing open, but just basically talk among ourselves in a goal-oriented way, or should we shut it down and get on with work? What do you reckon?
You can leave it open. I don't mind.
Do you think? Tell you what. Shout back. There's literally 11 people watching. This is very little consequence to anyone. The people who are watching, if indeed you are watching, send us some kind of message to tell us if you're actually finding it interesting having us do this. We're about to get much more boring. I mean, it's now going to turn into mumbling among ourselves. Should we stay on or should we get on with life?
People like your prog rock chat, but I think that's enough of it for now.
Oh, wow, I didn't see those.
Hi, Kira.
Hey, everyone. Oh, really? Who's Kira?
Kira's over in Belfast.
Yeah. Well, hi, kids. Has anybody actually answered the question? No.
No.
Well, I tell you what, look, I'll leave it open for now, but from now on, there's no public-facing chat. This is internal rambling. So, wait a sec. It was. Should we sort of formally say goodbye, or is that ridiculous? Hang on. Right. Goodbye, but we're going to be here. We're just not going to pay any attention to you. We're going to completely ignore you. I don't know if that feels weird. And you're literally eating a lunch. Good. All right. So, cheerio. Tell you what, we'll share screen. If I accidentally open my email in this window, by viewing this video, you have signed up to my information governance policy, which means you're not allowed to tell anyone what you fleetingly saw in my email inbox. How's that? Is that legally binding? I think so. Goodbye. I mean, we're still here, but goodbye. Okay. Transparency and publication of results. That's interesting. They say, what's the timeline for sharing? Underlying regulations and as outlined in our policy. Is there a separate policy then, Nick?
They said they have a data sharing policy, but also in this policy up above, they said, didn't they, within 12 months?
Is that right? Did they? Okay, hang on. I'm going to put the coding frame in a different window so that we can code a bit more efficiently. All right, well, let's get coding.
Yeah, because a little bit at the bottom, I don't know if you scroll down that far, but it's transparency and publication of results. Trial results are to be posted to the clinical trial register in the format at the times according to the underlying regulations.
I saw that, but yeah, there was a bit below where they allude to some other document as well, wasn't there? Anyway, let's be concrete and goal-oriented about the cells. So, has a policy on registration? Yes. Required trials registered? Yes. Before commencement? Yeah. What?
No,
they actually?
it didn't.
I thought it didn't. Yeah.
Let's try that.
Requires them to be registered. Yeah. Doesn't actually say that.
No.
Let me keep going through. Results. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. So provide a little checklist that people
yeah,
can
that's good.
work
So
through.
you have to send them your registry ID. There's a funder who I won't mention right now, but
You can write it down and look at it.
Yeah, I'm just typing it there.
Okay, yeah. I know.
Who I've been chatting to over the last 2 days about this. Who got into who have been saying. Oh, this is the disadvantage of having a leaky office that broadcasts to the world. They were basically saying, how can we let people like you quickly and cheaply audit whether or not people have registered? And I said, you just have to ask them to, you should share a data set with like 1 record per trial funded. And in there should be a field for trial registry ID. And we can then check and see if it's there or not there. And that's that. It's very easy. And then there was lots of chat about, but we're always told off for asking people for too much information, which they are, and which they do. But what's the alternative? It would take you ages to find somebody else's trial ID. If you're the person running the trial, it takes you 0 seconds. Anyway, so nothing about being pre-commencement. That's okay. This actually, I think, is therefore a good example of where, if you go through and check, an organisation like SEPI, which clearly has goodwill, clearly doing the right thing, if you point out where they've fallen short, I would be astonished if a good organisation like SEPI with a good policy like this didn't respond to that by going, oh yeah, thanks.
We could do that.
We'll change that over the next month or
Yeah.
two. Thanks for letting us know, rather than being defensive and childish.
The whole tenor of this thing is that it's aimed at their researchers, and it's got to be helpful for them. Because it ends with that checklist. And,
yeah,
you know,
which is good, I think.
I think they want to help their
Anyway,
researchers.
mention register must be updated as necessary. It does. Doesn't specifically say what to do at the point of termination, but I'll just check. Okay, have a policy on reporting results. Yes. Give a timeline.
Yeah.
Well, do they? Oh, yeah. A synopsis within 12 months. Yeah. Yeah.
And for pediatrics, 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What the new European law is going to say, so they're ahead of the curve there.
It is indeed. Mentions results, registry disclosure. Well, it does actually mention it, doesn't it? It just doesn't. Yeah, it does talk about putting.
It definitely does. It says you have to report them in line with the requirements of the registry you registered on.
Oh yeah, oh it really does actually. Look, trial results are to be posted on the clinical trial register sites in the format and at times according to James Line registry. Right. It doesn't really, I mean, this isn't a thing that we're coding, but I was hoping one of the nice things about the WHO policy was it was kind of advertising the facts that you can post results on registers.
Yeah.
Because that's still a tedious conversation that you have with trialists where they go, oh, well, it takes ages to publish a study. And by the time I've tried to get it in NEGM, even though it's a tiny phase 3 study.
This is also, it's also important to note that while they say, results are posted per requirement, not every, so I believe ICTRP platforms, a required data element is that they have a place for you to post results, but I don't believe all of them have a legal requirement like on clinicaltrials.gov or EUCTR for you to post results.
Yeah, I mean, I think this policy does fall a little short on, well, no, because it says, yeah, it doesn't say post it on a register within 12 months, does it? But it near enough does, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I don't want, it's very much
a synopsis.
Nits, but yeah.
So, but I mean, it's yeah, it's so good and so close. There's nothing about publication, like submitting to a journal.
They also have an open access policy, which I'm trying to find, because they mentioned somewhere there. Doesn't say that.
We support. Okay, so I don't think they mentioned journal publication. Well, actually, no. I don't think they do, but it's just not. It's not a key thing that we care about anyway. You know. Okay, mention that protocols should be published by the time of results disclosure. I think they actually didn't do that really. They had some good chat about protocol. Oh wait, hang on. No. Protocols should be developed. You've got to obey the protocol and the conduct. Oh gosh, Sheila, isn't it fucking tragic about Doug Altman?
Oh, so sad. Yeah, really, really sad. He's made such a difference. The world made a huge difference.
It's worrying to think about, like, you know, who was the replacements, but anyway. Written SOPs, you've got to make a protocol, you've got to follow the protocol.
I'm looking through here SEPI's funding agreements, terms and conditions.
Oh, great, cool.
Well, yes, until one of them is the awardee should comply with SEPI's policies and data sharing.
Oh yeah, and what's on that link?
It's broken.
Oh, bollocks.
Broken link.
Oh wait, no, that's broken because of the present 20 is it's a sort of coding special characters. Yeah, just delete them. It's probably new line codes, I think, percent 22. Yeah, PDFs.
No.
Do a search for SEPI policy document.pdf on the internet.
Is there any, I'm not familiar with the ICH GCP requirements. When they say protocol should be developed in accordance with ICH GCP requirements, is there anything there that, like, you know, is it built into that protocol should be published by the time of results disclosure?
Nope.
No? Okay.
No, I can't find this policy they're alluding to here. Perhaps it's this.
No, I don't
it's
think
not
it is.
this. It's
No.
different.
Well, can you document in the box at the bottom, Sheila, that you found that document, that it linked to this other document, and that that document couldn't be found? I think there's nothing about protocols being published by the time of publish.
Yeah, if you could put it in the audit orgs document as well, any links you find, show, because I'm going to go back and download and archive all these policies when we're done today.
Yeah. Mention that the protocol should include amendments. So the word amendments doesn't appear, but I think, oh God, have we made a rod for our back by coding too much? It doesn't actually say anything about amendments, does it? There's rather a good bit where they were chatting about statistical analysis plan. Monitoring data management system should be in place prior to. Yeah, I don't think they do have anything about amendments, so be it. Trial ID should be present in all results publications. That's not appeared anywhere. Plan for disclosure should be included at the time of grant submission. I don't think they said anything about that, did they? I really don't think they did. Now, they don't say anything about going to check. Oh, they don't say anything about checking previous performance. And then nothing about monitoring compliance, actually, which is sad.
Oh, I can review this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, send me a request to edit it. Ah. I don't know if you're actually, if you've got edit rights with your work one, but just send me them from whatever you're logged in as. Yeah. Can we say that they're generally supportive of data sharing?
I didn't see anything.
I feel like that other document. Data should be managed and shared in a way that maximizes benefits to human health. Honestly, that's no more or less vague than any other generally supportive statement, is it? I think that gets them a yes. Do you agree?
Yes.
But where? Oh, window. Yeah, where is this data sharing document?
They mentioned it, but I couldn't find it again on the search.
Oh, really? So that other document that you were going through, what was that?
I think that was a different one. That was their general, it's hard to tell, isn't it, from names, but that looked like a not data access, or more like open access.
Jesus, this Evernote leak thing is horrific. Oh my God, and whatever this pop-up is not actually displaying. I wanted to say, do you want me to go away and never come back?
You don't know which one you gotta choose.
Who knows what that just did? Do you want to delete your entire Evernote library permanently? Yeah. Okay, SEPI data. In your separate. Hurry, little engine, you can do it. So clinical trial policy is what we've just read.
Yeah.
Funding agreements confirms that's what you agree.
That's what I got. Which links to a broken.
Let's see what we can do about that. Policies on.
Okay.
SEPI policy documentation doc.
I believe that is the data sharing policy, the broken link here. That's what I'm
So they've got a thing called SEPI policy documentation. Try searching for that for AIDS. Ah, there we go. That's it. So you commit to public disclosure of results. Should share all data and information.
There you go.
Well, that's definitely
Share
a
all
yes
data.
for general
Yeah,
support.
that's enough to be a yes.
But would argue they have done before. But what else have they got in there?
Open access, so everybody can around the world can see it.
Oh, that's nice.
That's right.
Data and trial results sharing, and will inform and adhere to emerging global standards in this area. Okay, require awardees conducting clinical trials to register trials in a public accessible database before patient recruitment. Hooray! I would argue that if you have to like go to the extent that we just did to find this document, it's not super visible to recipients, but there you go. Okay, so before commencement, I'm changing that to a yes. Awardees conducting clinical trials to implement sharing of data results, including via an easily discoverable public route, website or system that includes metadata description. Yes, where patient privacy is up. Oh, this is beautiful, and the system follows through. What? Oh right. Oh, that's for data, not for results. But anyway, fine. Awardees to share close to real time as possible within 12 months, in line with the WHO statements. Awardees commit to a specific expedited timeline before trials commence. They're getting another point. Wait, so that is. No, but you know what I mean. Plan for disclosure, so that's a yes there now. Plan for disclosure should be included at time of grant submission.
Right.
Oh, that's not a grant submission, that's before trial commences. I'm going to put that in brackets. Oh, hang on. Format, text wrapping, wrap. Open access, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And the rest is blah. Still nothing on termination and updating, but that's, oh no, updating they did, but termination they did not. You could argue that terminating is sort of subsumed under updating. Let me just check. No, and register. Okay, fine. Good. All right. Oh wait, do you need me to put that link somewhere?
Oh, you might as well, yeah.
I'm going to put it in the bottom, and I'll also put it there under setting.
Good.
All right, rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
So, quick check-in for the purposes of our mental well-being. We've now done GAPES, MRC, Welcome, INSAM, Norway, Institute Pasteur, PATH, and CEPI.
Great.
Outstanding, we have Drugs for Neglected Diseases, Indian Cancer Medical Research Epicenter, NSF, and then our three late joiners, DFID, FIND, and some malaria people. So, let's have a look in the audit orgs document. What have we got? So Nick's found a couple. Thank you, Nick. Nick, I'd ask you how's it going, but there are strangers listening to us right now.
America is it's still here.
As you remember it, largely.
for the most part.
Does the spirit of the place feel different with like, you know, peculiar president and all of that stuff?
I think the spirit's a little different than what I remember before I moved to the UK.
Oh well, yeah. I like to imagine that we've changed you. Socially, not necessarily professionally. All right, guiding principles on the sharing of clinical trial data and wait, sorry, there were two, weren't there?
Hang on.
Yeah. Oh wait, oh sorry, no, that's me. I put the second one in the wrong place. I don't think so. Yeah, you're putting it in the right place. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so there's only one Drugs for Neglected Diseases initiative. Preamble. That's such an honest subheading for a section like that, isn't it? Or maybe I'm just imagining because it sounds a bit like a ramble. Okay, preamble. God, there are still 8 people listening to this. Guff.
Yeah, they recognise the ethical imperative to share and disseminate its data responsibly.
That's all very well, but where's your registration policy?
That was just the preamble.
So go down to section 4 if you wanna fast.
Yeah, no, I just gave myself that thrill, but now I'm going back to the guiding principles in case there's anything consequential there.
There's a couple of things in here, Ben, that remind me a lot of some of the company's policies, which use the words like responsible and balancing the needs and balancing the responsibilities.
Yeah,
which actually ended up with them saying, actually, we're not going to do it. So fingers crossed.
Golly gosh, look. So DNDI is the Neglected Diseases Initiative. Oh, wait, okay, no. So neglected diseases people are going to be really preoccupied with how do you incentivize innovation in an environment where people can't make a lot of money.
Okay.
But I just mentioned that because it's kind of interesting that they say, last bit of section 3, DNDI will seek to minimize potential harm from data sharing, including privacy invasion, bias analyses, unfair and competitive use of data, and the undermining of public trust and incentives to conduct clinical trials. That's really interesting, isn't it? Because that is a sentence that comes from certain people who I choose not to name in this forum. We went around throughout the discussions on trials transparency saying things like, oh, well, you know, the thing is, if we share all these results, the public will be overwhelmed. It'll be just like MMR. There'll be another terrible scare. I think, you know, we don't really need everyone to see all of this.
You don't. You need those unwashed movement might
without
change out.
naming any names, do you remember those?
I do remember.
Yes, and you remember the people who made those up. Ah, history, Lou. One day. Anyway, but for now, we play nicely. Timing and procedures. Before data collection. Okay, I'm going to open up the sheet and start coding. So the NDI is not in our audit. I see no. Oh yeah, I do see a mention of WHO in section 5. Have a policy on registration? Yes.
Yep.
Require that trials are registered. Yeah. Before commencement?
Yes.
The collection. Would that be before commencement?
No.
First.
No, sorry, that's not for results. Before data collection, they'll put the protocol on.
No, look, before data collection, clinical trials are registered on public databases.
Section 4 of first bullet point.
So I'm going to say yes, and then put the quote before data collection. That's a funny one, isn't it? Very odd. Why is that in red, in green? That cell. I don't understand. It's peculiar. Is there some weird conditional formatting?
It's not green for me, Ben. It must just be on your end.
Okay, fine. Mention that they're registered before commencement. Mention that the registry should be updated. No, there's nothing like that level of detail here, is there?
No.
Oh, and selected references, and this is how to request information from them. Okay, so mention the registry. Sorry, I'm actually just going to read 4 and 5 in one go. Data sharing on request. Key results 12 months after completion. Journals, but no timeline. All right, it's pretty thin, isn't it?
Yes, hits the major points.
Here's the major points, but you know, this document was uploaded in May 2018. So that is 12 months after they signed the WHO thing. So they're obviously thinking in their heads, we've got to update our policy within 12 months of signing the thing.
Yeah.
And so this is their complying with the WHO thing.
Yeah.
They mention the WHO thing, but they don't do the majority of the stuff that's in the WHO joint statement.
They don't say they do.
No.
Maybe they've forgotten to write it in. We've seen this.
But anyway, this is yeah.
But we can't score it if it's not written in.
Exactly. But I suppose what I'm saying is, hopefully, therefore, they're going, they think they're complying and they want to comply and they haven't. So we're going to hopefully let them know when they're going to go.
Make them conscious of it.
Yeah. And the word thank you may not necessarily appear in the email, but it will be implied. We don't need thank yous, do we, Sheila?
One of the people who wrote to me.
Oh, did they? What did they say when they wrote to you? I won't tell the internet. Ah. That is...
They might say thank you. They seem very polite.
Yes.
Very nice.
It's interesting. We fully welcome the spotlight you'll be shining on registration reporting results and look forward to amplifying your efforts in the months ahead.
Yeah.
Great.
So they broke down the WHO statement themselves into registration reporting results and data sharing.
Yeah, I think it's just I think they just sort of, maybe it sort of slipped their mind that they'd actually committed to saying these things in their public policy. Good. You see, audit and feedback.
Audit and feedback.
Rock and roll.
Making people conscious.
We will see
Well,
if people change when we send it. All right. So mention register. In case anyone's still listening and wondering if this is genuinely how we talk to each other all the time, this is genuinely, we really are this sanctimonious. It's appalling. Mention registry must be updated. No. Transformated. No. Have they got policy on reporting results? Yes. Do they give a timeline? Yes. Is it 12 months? Yes. Do they mention registry disclosure? I'd say actually sort of not really. What do you think?
They don't mention it. They said
they post the key results.
Key results, not even all of them.
Yeah, they don't specifically mention.
They don't specifically mention it. They do talk about open access journals. In fact, they don't.
They say
major journals.
They say journals, but without a timeline. They mention journal publication. I think that's a no, isn't it? Mention it, but without a timeline. I'm just going to set format to the word wrap. That's how thrilling my work is. All right. Reporting results, extra elements. Mention that protocols should be published by the time of results disclosure. Before data collection, they'll put the synopsis of the trial protocol. That's sort of right. A synopsis of a trial protocol, though.
I don't know what that is, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, isn't it? I'm going to put that in brackets.
I think you gotta give them a yes there, even if it's a yes, a slightly more modified yes. But I mean, they're pretty clearly saying they're going to publish protocol documents, even if it's not every word of it.
That's a yes.
You know what? I think I actually disagree, having been involved in running a few trials, because a protocol is the really serious, detailed description of what you do. A synopsis of a trial protocol is like a registry entry. You know, it's inclusion, exclusion criteria, outcomes, but it's not. You know, there's a lot of there's a fair amount of meat and bread and butter that's in. Your sandwich is so disgusting, by the way. But there's a lot of meat and bread and butter in the protocol. I don't know. I think no. I'm giving them a no. I think if you're a protocol is the detail.
But we also don't know how much detail they include in their synopsis. It might be a lot. It might be a little.
Look, I think if we say we don't think you've done this right, because part of the purpose of this also is to feed it back to them, right? Yeah. So we feed it back to them, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, fair enough." I don't think it's unfair, and we want them to share the full protocol, and we're pointing out to them that they don't currently commit to share the full protocol.
Can they have it unclear?
Well, no, it's a no. It's a no with a caveat in brackets. Do you think a no with a caveat in brackets is somehow less generous than an unclear with a caveat in brackets? Is that?
Maybe it's not unclear.
No, it's not unclear. It's very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mention the protocol should contain amendments. Do they do that anywhere? I don't think so.
No, they have a section called amendments, but it's just amendments to this.
Yep. Trial ID should be in all results publications and propagate the public. Nope. Plan for disclosure should be included at the time of grant submission. Don't think so.
No.
We'll pay you to share your results, and we'll ask you if you've published your previous results before giving you any more money. They don't say anything about any of that. Nothing about auditing and monitoring, which is pretty sad, and they're generally supportive of data sharing. Is that all reasonable?
Yes.
Happy, everyone? Nick? Yeah. Everyone agreed? Consensus on this coding of DNDI?
Yes.
Nick, you've not said the word yes.
Sorry. You got very like robot-y for there for a second, so I didn't hear the question.
Oh, is everybody agreed that we've like coded DNDI fairly and correctly?
Documents, but I don't meaningfully change anything. But just to say we, are aware of them having been a thing. They have this regulatory policy, which briefly mentions registration, but I think they've covered registration pretty extensively in that document. So,
does it say anything in that additional document about changes to registry? That's kind of the one thing that they were missing on. No. Should I have a look at it?
Quick Control F, and
I better have a look at it. Hang on. Is it under the?
It's in the audit orgs doc. It's that one that's regulatory policy.
Yeah, DNDI regulatory policy. Okay. Oh wow, it's super short. There's nothing at all there, is there?
Well, there's some brief mention on registration and how they will apply, like follow international standards, but I don't think there's anything that.
Yeah, so nothing of any consequence there, I'd say. And then what have we got here? And when you say, oh, that link with all policies, there's nothing more there, is there?
Yeah, so if you just wanted to take a look at what their other, see if any of those other headings interest you, but I don't think any of them are, well, I don't think any of them will give us more detail than the actual clinical trial policy.
Complaints procedures and misconduct procedures.
It's interesting, you get done for fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, but not for failure to report your results. Yeah. But there you go. Right, scientific and external communications policy.
Yeah, I'm taking a quick look at that. But it's
okay. Clinical control protocols should mention the publication policy. Great. Did they get scored for that earlier? And for disclosure should be included at the time of thingy. Okay, well, we can say at the time of protocol. God, but I mean, if you have to look in this, who's actually going to do that?
Got a yes for that.
No, because it's the plan for disclosure should be included at the time of grant submission. Two people, oh, that person got a yes because it was before trial commencement. That's
yeah, what?
Yeah, they should both be no's.
And
yeah. I think it's useful to tell people that they've not done what was in the thing that they signed up to.
Wait, but didn't SEPI say you had to do a data access thing before trial commencement?
Yeah, but the WHO thing is at the time of grant submission.
Okay.
Do you want to stop broadcasting, Nick?
I can. I just had someone just walked into my. But no, it's fine. It's all.
Wow. Oh wait, there is quite a. The NDI will ensure scientific exchange of communication consistent to make the regulators make sure. Oh. All right, not a lot of that. Access policy, access to what? All right, this is like if you develop a cure for cancer in Sri Lanka, do please give it to the people of Sri Lanka.
The last couple of funders have talked a lot about global
quite
access
right,
to knowledge and things, which is nice.
Well, amazing. I mean, you know that battle with, I can't remember which country it was, but where a bunch of people came along and said, give us that viral DNA for that thing that's killing everyone so that we can make the vaccine. And the country said, sure, but you have to give us the vaccine cheap or free. And they said, well, no, because we're going to make the vaccine. They said, well, you're going to make it from our viral DNA. Yeah. And we're not going to give it to you unless. Funny one. Anyway.
What happened?
I cannot remember the punchline, I'm afraid. I might need tea and biscuits in a sec. Oh, well, I see you've got biscuits. Sorry, Nick. It's ginger nuts as well. Pretty,
the best ones.
Pretty 80s of you. All right, Indian Council of Medical Research.
Let's do that one, then have tea.
Do you think? Do we deserve? I'm actually possibly dehydrated to the point of.
Well, we are rapidly approaching our cutoff time, right?
What's our cutoff time?
Oh, holy shit! Yeah, sorry, I've got a call with somebody I won't mention. Oh shit! Did that get moved or not? Fuck. I mean,
have you missed it?
Well, I hope not.
No cause.
Well, you had this in the diary till 4, and we're just approaching 4 now.
Okay, well, I can carry on if you can carry on.
Yeah, let me just check. I'm supposed to Ridge, a wonderful Keith Ridge, and I told him 3, and then I changed it to. Oh, yeah, it's 4. Okay, right. Okay, so I really do have a hard stop because I definitely want to talk to him. So. Woo! That's very good. Email from somebody. Okay. So that's very good. Unless we can do this very quickly.
Oh, it doesn't look like it's a long one.
It's a long document. And wait, I've closed the data frame.
Can you carry on at 4:30?
Potentially, but I love Keith Ridge so much that if he wants to carry on talking to me, I will make all the time in the world for him. He's the chief pharmacist. Did you know such a thing existed as the chief pharmacist?
Yeah.
I didn't really know until about 4 years ago. But he's really good, you know. Every now and then you come across civil servants who walk the line between being civil servants and being, you know what I mean. Right, let's see. General, ethical, payment, conflict, post-research access.
Reporting, page 17.
There's definitely something in there. I did a quick control F when I found the document.
Thing is, most of it's going to be on page 17, but there's going to be
bits, yeah.
There's going to be bits elsewhere, and that's going to be quite labour intensive, just scanning around all of those.
Yeah, I believe they do mention the WHO commitment, though.
Is that right? Yeah. Unfortunately, Nick, we started late because Sheila's plane and train and horseman.
That's fine. I think this was incredibly productive. We got a bunch done.
Well, yeah, I'm just never enough. But yeah, we have got quite a long way. We've got, to be fair, we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
6 done today. That's not bad. It's pretty good.
How many done today? 6. That's
yeah.
Good. I think with another 2 hours, we could potentially kill it, you know.
Yeah.
I really have to leave at 6. Can you do 5 until 6?
I will do 5 until 6.
You sure?
Look at my face.
That's your sure face. Okay. All right.
We can do it. I was going to say fuck.
Well, you can't say.
That.
You can't say that on the internet. It's a breach of our swearing in the office.
Let's if I can do it.
Kind of lines.
My journey back can't be as bad as my journey here can.
Yeah, all the trains between Oxford and anywhere are about to go wrong for 2 weeks. Actually, it's going to be quite tedious.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we're not going to do India in 0 seconds.
No, we're
so
not going to do
that.
that. I can say I would run ahead and check which one no policies are off the list, maybe.
Yeah.
I can stay after if you do your best to not fall down a telephone line with Keith.
I can't truncate Keith Rings. I love him too much. It's just not possible. You have come a long way, but what can I say? There's the hierarchy.
All right, taking these with me.
Good. All right. See you at.
Where can I go?
When I
go hang out.
You can see if one of those two desks is empty, and probably nobody will mind. Otherwise, you can sit in Nick's chair, which is just out there. In fact, it would be kind of poetic if you
Why don't you show me
Nick's
Nick's chair and I'll sit on it?
Okay. Good. All right. Well, goodbye, Nick. Goodbye, Internet. Thank you very much for coming. We're down to 6 viewers. You're pretty hardcore, you 6. It was a pleasure to have you. Oh, wow, look how big my hair is. Oh, poor Doug Altman. He had great hair, Doug Altman.
Yeah.
It was like his influence in the world. It diffused, and then it didn't have an edge. It just kind of...
Oh, how lovely.
Anyway, right, goodbye.